Hello students, once again welcome to the engineering chemistry course. Today we will start the topic organic fuels. As in our previous class we have discussed that this topic is in the unit 2 of engineering chemistry course. So let us begin with today's lecture. Today we will start the organic fuels. In this unit we will cover the following topics: general introduction about the fuels, classification of fuels, in which solid fuels, liquid fuels and the gaseous fuels we will going to discuss. In the solid fuel we will discuss about the coal and coke. In coal, calorific value and its determination, proximate analysis and the ultimate analysis we will discuss. And in coke solid fuel we will discuss the carbonization process in detail. In the liquid fuels we are going to discuss about the various type of liquid fuels and knocking, octane number and the cetane number. These all are related with the quality of the liquid fuels. Then last gaseous fuels will be discussed. In the gaseous fuels, various type of gaseous fuels we will going to discuss. And after discussing about all types of fuels, we will understand about the combustion based numericals, in which amount of oxygen required for complete combustion will be calculated. We will know how the amount of oxygen will be calculated which is required for the combustion of the fuel. So these are the topics which we will cover in this unit. So let us begin. Introduction. What is fuel? I hope you all must know the fuel is the substances which is a source of thermal energy. It may be nuclear fuel or the chemical fuel. So what is the basic difference between the nuclear fuel and the chemical fuels? Basically, the nuclear fuels are the substances which gives energy due to the nuclear fission or the nuclear fusion reactions. For example, uranium-235. While the chemical fuels are the substances which gives energy due to the combustion reactions. For example, coal, petrol and LPG. These are the chemical fuels. In this unit, we will focus only on the chemical fuels. So, what are the chemical fuels? The chemical fuels are the substances which on combustion produces a large amount of heat energy which may be utilized for various purposes. So please focus on the word combustion. What chemical reaction produces the energy? The name of the chemical reaction is the combustion reaction. So what is the combustion reaction? Combustion reactions are those reactions in which with the help of oxygen any substances reacts and releases a large amount of heat energy which can be utilized for commercial or the domestic purposes. So when fuel undergoes in the combustion reaction in presence of oxygen, it gives the combustion products and the heat energy. So this is the basic combustion reaction. As we all know that most of the chemical fuels contains carbon and carbon or hydrogen. That means main constituent of the fuel are the carbon and the hydrogen, because mostly chemical fuels are the hydrocarbons. So the major component of the chemical fuel is the carbon and the hydrogen. Combustion of the fuel involves the oxidation of this carbon or hydrogen. So oxidation of carbon results in the formation of the carbon dioxide, while oxidation of hydrogen results in the formation of the water. So in case of hydrocarbon fuel, the combustion products will be the carbon dioxide and the H2O. So when hydrocarbon fuels are burned or are going in the combustion reaction, then what will be the combustion products? Carbon dioxide and the H2O. In case sulfur is also present in the fuel, then in oxidation of the sulfur, it produces sulfur dioxide. Clear? And if mineral matters are also present in the fuel, then mineral matters results in the formation of ash after the combustion reaction. So now conclusion is, if chemical fuel is undergoes in the combustion reaction, then carbon converted into the carbon dioxide, hydrogen converted into H2O, sulfur converted into sulfur dioxide. While any non-combustible substances or mineral substances present in the fuel will get converted into the ash. These are the combustion product, basic combustion products of the chemical fuel. With all these combustion products, a large amount of heat energy also liberated in the combustion reaction, which can be utilized further. So this is the basic of the chemical fuel. Now coming towards the classification of the chemical fuels. The chemical fuels can be classified on the basis of their occurrence or on the basis of their physical state. That means classification of chemical fuels can be done in two ways. First, on the basis of their occurrence, and second, on the basis of their physical state. On the basis of their occurrence, the chemical fuels are classified as primary fuels and the secondary fuels. Now, what are the primary fuels? Primary fuels are the fuels which are used as such as they occur in nature. That is, they can be used without processing or slight processing. For example, wood, coal, natural gas, etc. That means these are the fuel which are used directly from the natural resources. While the secondary fuels are the fuels which are derived from the primary fuels. Okay. By further chemical processing. That means after chemical processing of the primary fuel, we can get the secondary fuels. For example, coke, kerosene, producer gas, coal gas, etc. So these are the primary and the secondary fuels. On the basis of their physical state, that means in which physical state the fuel exists. The fuel may be of three types: solid fuels, liquid fuels and the gaseous fuel. The fuels which are in solid state are the solid fuels, which are in liquid state are liquid fuels, which are in gaseous state are the gaseous fuels. So this is the classification of the chemical fuels. Now coming towards the solid fuel, first is the coal. As we have discussed just now that coal is the primary fuel. Okay, because we can directly use it from the natural sources. Coal is a highly carbonaceous matter that has been formed as a result of alteration of vegetable matter, that means plants, under certain favorable condition, that means high temperature and pressure beneath the earth crust. It is chiefly composed of the carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen and oxygen, besides the non-combustible inorganic matter. So we all know how coal is formed under the earth crust. So on the basis of their formation at different stages, that means when various plant parts would undergoes in high pressure under the earth surfaces, then slowly degradation of these vegetable matter takes place and formation of coal takes place. So at the various stages, different type of coal we can form. Starting material is wood, that is the plant matter. Then after wood, peat is formed, this peat. Then after degradation of this peat, lignite coal is formed. After this lignite, bituminous coal is formed, and at last the anthracite coal is formed. So when we move from wood to peat, lignite, bituminous and anthracite, the carbon percentage in the coal increases. That means efficiency of the coal increases, because as the carbon percentage increases, the moisture and the sulfur contents decreases in the coal. So the quality of coal increases. That means if we want to designate these types of coal as per their quality parameters, so peat is the very low quality coal, while anthracite is the highest quality coal. So this is the solid fuel coal. Various type of coal we just now discussed: anthracite, bituminous, subbituminous, lignite and the peat coal. These are the carbon percentage in various type of coal. We can see anthracite possesses highest percentage of the carbon, while peat coal possesses lowest percentage of carbon. As the percentage of carbon increases, the amount of heat content also increases. That's why we are calling that the anthracite is the best coal in comparison to the peat, lignite, bituminous. Now coming towards the quality parameter of the fuel. First quality parameter is the calorific value. The calorific value is defined as the amount of heat liberated by complete combustion of unit mass or unit volume of a solid or a liquid fuel. That means it is the total amount of heat energy liberated by complete combustion of the fuel, unit mass or unit volume of the fuel. The calorific value of fuel may be of two types: gross calorific value, which is abbreviated as GCV; net calorific value, which is abbreviated as NCV. So let us discuss the GCV and NCV. Now, what is the gross calorific value? Gross calorific value of a fuel can be defined as the total amount of heat energy liberated by complete combustion of unit mass or unit volume of a solid or liquid fuel when product of combustion are allowed to cool down at room temperature. It is also called the high calorific value or the HCV. What does it means? It means when fuel undergoes in combustion reaction in presence of oxygen, the reaction takes place, formation of combustion product and the heat energy evolved. This is the basic combustion reaction. Now, according to definition, calculation of calorific value GCV involves when the combustion products, these products are allowed to cool down at the room temperature. So, if we consider it is a chemical fuel, then hydrocarbon fuel, by combustion of this hydrocarbon fuel, carbon dioxide and water is produced. When this water is produced due to high temperature, because heat is evolved, it is in the form of the steam or in the form of the vapor. So when we allow to cool down the combustion product at room temperature, this steam get condensed into the water at room temperature, and during this condensation process latent heat is also evolved. That means the calculation of GCV includes heat energy released by combustion and the latent heat energy. I hope you must got my point. So GCV is the combination of the combustion energy plus the latent energy. That's why it is called the higher calorific value. Clear? Now, net calorific value. The net calorific value is defined as the amount of heat obtained practically on complete combustion of unit mass or solid fuel or the unit volume of the liquid fuel or gaseous fuel, and the product of combustion are allowed to escape in the atmosphere. That means there is no latent heat. That's why it is called NCV, net calorific value, or the lower calorific value, LCV. So what is the relation between these two? There is the difference of latent heat in both of them. GCV is the combustion energy plus latent heat, while NCV includes only the combustion energy. So we can write GCV is equal to NCV plus 9H into latent heat of water. What is this factor? Because we know 1 mole of H2O produces 587 calories of the latent heat. So how much amount of latent heat is total produced? We can calculate it by the percentage of hydrogen present in the fuel. Suppose if H percentage hydrogen is present in the fuel, that means you can write simple this reaction: hydrogen plus oxygen gives H2O, right? So if we consider the molecular weight of both of these, that means when 2 parts of hydrogen combines with the 18 parts, I am writing the molecular weight of both of these, hydrogen and oxygen, 18 parts of oxygen, then H2O is produced. Clear? So 1 mole of hydrogen requires how much amount of oxygen to produce H2O? 9 parts. So if H percentage of hydrogen is present, that means it requires 9H sorry, just repeat, I am just repeating, right? Latent heat, total latent heat produced, we can calculate by this reaction: hydrogen plus oxygen gives H2O, right? This. Now I am writing here the molecular weight 2, 16, and molecular weight of water is 18. Clear? So when 2 parts of hydrogen is there in the fuel, then it will produces the 18 parts of the water. So if 1 mole of hydrogen is there in the fuel, it will produces the 9 mole of the water. That means number of hydrogen present in the fuel, water is formed is the 9 times of that amount. I hope you got my point. 9H, if 1H is produced, hydrogen is there, then 9H H2O is produced. So total amount of heat energy, latent heat liberated is the 9H. 9H is the total H2O produced into latent heat of water divided by 100. So because why we are using 100 here? Because we are using the percentage of hydrogen. So we are dividing here by the 100. So HCV is equal to NCV plus 9H into latent heat of water by 100. This is the total latent heat produced by the total water formed by the combustion reaction. Now units of heat. This small topic is related with the numericals. So you must know the various units: calorie, kilocalorie, British thermal unit, and the centigrade heat unit. What is calorie? Calorie is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water through 1 degree centigrade. That means if we want to increase the 15 to 16 degree centigrade temperature, that means if water is at 15 degree and we want to increase its temperature at 16 degree, then the amount of energy required for this increase is the 1 calorie. Kilocalorie is equal to the 1000 calories. This is the unit of metric system and may be defined as the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water through 1 degree centigrade. Thus, 1 kilocalorie is equal to 1000 calories. Next is the British thermal unit, is defined as the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 pound of water through 1 degree Fahrenheit, that is 60 to 61 Fahrenheit. This is the English system unit. 1 BTU is equal to 252 calories is equal to 0.252 kilocalories, and 1 kilocalorie is equal to 3.968 BTU. All these relations you must remember from the numerical point of view. Centigrade heat unit. It is the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 pound of water through 1 degree centigrade. Thus, we can write 1 kilocalorie is equal to 1000 calorie is equal to 3.968 BTU is equal to 2.2 CHU. This is the relation between all type of units of the heat. Now, let us revise what we have discussed in today's class. We have discussed about the introduction of the fuel, in which we have discussed that the fuel may be of two types, chemical or the nuclear fuels, and then we started with the chemical fuels. And classification of the chemical fuels we have discussed on the basis of their occurrence and on the basis of their physical state. And then we started with the solid fuels, in which we have discussed about the coal and various type of coal, peat, lignite, bituminous and the anthracite coal. Then calorific value, we have discussed what is the calorific value and different type of calorific value, in which we have discussed the GCV, gross calorific value, and NCV, that is the net calorific value. Now, time to the learning check. Please pause the video for a minute and read the question and think for the answer. Which one of the primary fuel? Coal, petrol, LPG or the coke? Pause the video and think. Yes, you are right. This is the coal. As we have discussed, the primary fuels are those which are used, which can be used as such as they occur in the nature. So, coal is the primary fuel. Thank you. Take good care of yourself and keep enjoy e-learning at home. Thank you.